My name is Earl Hurd, and welcome you back to another episode. One thing I want to stress, our purpose in life is to bring God glory and to help share His message so that we can introduce God to others, and connections matter.
It's been an incredible journey for the past 20 years, having the opportunity to create strategy around movies and television network. My name is Michelle Duffy. I own a strategic marketing company, so that's really the basis of the business. And I think a pearl of wisdom, we start every day with gratitude. And I know it sounds just so simple and so, I understand, be thankful. But when we're thankful in the very smallest things, it seems that everything grows from that grateful place. So we love what we do. We love the opportunity to push forward great messages to people that can make them laugh, can make them smile, can even bring mending to a marriage, or can bring resolution to a situation. So we love to bring movies and content to people that makes them better, that enlightens them, that inspires them.
I started out at a small production company out of Louisville back when I graduated from college, because the production company was getting the rights to my dad's Left Behind series. And so they knew I wanted to be in film, and so I started kind of at the bottom rung of the ladder and slowly worked my way up, or a few years before then I could start something with my dad. So my dad and I were kind of a team for a while, our own production company. And now, right now, my biggest project, I've got some partners working on this show, The Chosen, which is what my primary focus is now.
Went way of the Marine Corps. Then I got into acting and actually landed a local small agent in Virginia, where I'm from, and went down to Florida and competed on a national scale. Drove cross country and ultimately tried to make it as an actor. Now, most people probably don't remember, but in 1985 we had a slight recession. So I ended up coming back home and thought, well, I gave acting a shot, that was that. And so I followed the pathway of several family members, including my father, and became a police officer. But lo and behold, another filmmaking friend of mine was a cop as well. And so we used to moonlight as security guards at our local theater. And so he asked the theater, it just started to become the digital age. He said, would you guys allow us to film from like 11 at night to 7 in the morning? And of course, we were the cops, so they said yes. And so we did this film over 3 weeks, and it was in a journey that filmmaking through the indie vein was possible. And you didn't necessarily have to do it like Rodriguez or Kevin Smith that we all read about. There was this new digital opportunity that became before us. And so I started to study and do everything I could as a producer, and as a result, fell in love with directing.
I originally got into acting as a teenager when I was 18 years old, and I wanted to become a professional actor since I was like 15. My brother and I had messed around with the camcorders and made our own movies for 3 summers in a row, and so I really loved the whole idea of filmmaking. Sylvester Stallone was my original role model, who I got to meet last year for the first time at Cafe Roman, Beverly Hills, and we got a great picture together. And he wrote his own films, and to me, I just identified with the idea of becoming a storyteller as opposed to just one component as an actor. But I figured I needed some professional acting credits, so I got an agent. My second audition, I got a national commercial, Domino's Pizza, SAG card, all that right away. Thought I was on my way. Moved to Hollywood a few years later after I went to college in Dallas, which was Southern Methodist University, and realized that I really wanted to produce my own content. So essentially that's how I got into it.
If I went back to junior high, that was when I started getting into talk shows and pretending like you have, the set at home. And being from Texas, Dallas was a long way away in the skyline, but we did what we could. And it was an opportunity. And Tom and I were on the 405 one day, and this was when we're on the 405 stuck in traffic. And what else do you do besides dream when you're here next to Hollywood, right? And so that's what we were doing. And he said, hey, well, why don't you interview somebody that's well known if you want to have your own talk show? And I said, okay. He said, what about OJ? Simpson. This was after the criminal and civil trials.
And by the way, we've been married over 22 years now, so this was back when not long after we first got married. And we were really young. I know we look young, but we were young at that time.
So we would stake out over there. I said, a bell went off. I said, that's what I've got to do. And we just, we did what they do in the movies, and we just kind of followed our instincts, and we would stake out. And it was a total madhouse. As you know, every journalist in the world wanted this interview. And so Greta Van Susteren from CNN, she got it with all the support of the mass media behind her. But, you know, I have the Most High God behind me. And so Tom and I, with our little video camera from college, went there. And thus it birthed the Mindy Thomas special, because, you know, the Barbara Walters special and so forth. So we got the exclusive there for 30 minutes of Rockingham. And just recently we were on Entertainment Tonight for that sort of time capsule that every time I went to pray about it, the Lord said, wait, and not to get involved in that world. But now I know for a fact I'm supposed to get involved. And there is a time to speak and there's a time to be silent. So I've learned and been groomed, and I'm ready for the beginning, I think, of what God has for us now after 2 decades on the front lines.
My name is Thomas Brinska. I'm president of BIC Alliance out of Houston, Texas. Most people know us because we publish an industrial trade journal, BIC Magazine. But BIC Alliance is the parent company. We own BIC Magazine as a wholly owned subsidiary, and we also operate 2 service companies. One is a headhunting organization, BIC Recruiting, and I'm partners in a boutique investment bank, IVS Investment Banking. We help people buy and sell businesses.
Networking is the key to all of my success. Networking for me, having an opportunity to be in the forefront, shake hands and mend hearts with other business executives, it pulls me up to where I want to go. It also gives me an opportunity to reach down and pull other people up to areas where they want to participate in business. Networking is such a key in being able to really rub shoulders with other industry professionals that are either doing what you're doing or doing above what you're doing. It helps to give you a window into the full sphere of what business is.
The other, I think, way that networking can be defined is maybe less horizontal and more vertical. Like starting at the bottom of whatever ladder you want to climb can oftentimes be the best way to get to where you want. And so I started kind of at the bottom rung of the ladder and slowly worked my way up, or a few years before then I could start something with my dad.
I've accrued over some 20-some years off and on doing independent filmmaking in the DC market. I've created quite a Rolodex. In fact, once you get into the film world, it becomes a very small film world, and you start seeing the same people. And networking is an essential part of what we do. It's another tool in your bat belt. It's one that you have to have.
For me, networking is pretty much the key to getting anything done, especially in Hollywood or entertainment, because it's not so much what you know, it's who you know. And I found that to be the case even when I was first getting started as an actor at 18. I didn't know anybody, but I had my friends at high school who happened to be professional actors. Jason had just done a movie with Reese Witherspoon called Man in the Moon. And he was like, he just was starred in the movie. They were co-stars. So I played it smart, and I remembered him, and I said, hey, can you help me? You know, so right off the bat, networking immediately paid off for me. So getting my first agent was all about networking. And then from coming out here, making Christian movies, Bob Higley, who's a good friend of ours from Dallas, he had a lot of connections with Trinity Broadcasting Network. And we went on Praise the Lord not too long ago to promote One More Round with Kevin Sorbo. It was on Daystar Television. It premiered on Daystar. It was a #1 in the ratings. It was all over the country in Christian bookstores. And as a matter of fact, even having the great talented Kevin Sorbo in our film was a huge blessing to get to work with someone of his stature, tremendous blessing. But even that relationship came through friends of friends. Without networking, you might as well not even think about doing movies. Networking is the key. It's all about who you know and making friends.
For me, the difference between marketing and networking, marketing really is finding the consumer's need making certain that you have a product for the need that the community has. So that's marketing. Pushing forward ideas and concepts that draw people into a product that you have, an offering. Networking for me is more of a peer-to-peer, where we are locking shoulder to shoulder, arm to arm, to elevate an idea. Yeah, to elevate an idea. That's what networking becomes. It also becomes a support system for you. Whereas marketing is typically pushing forward to sell, networking really is pouring into yourself, pouring into another person to have the best product to market, actually.
When you're networking in the mainstream world, everything in networking involves making a personal connection. People want to work with people that they like, that they have similar interests with. So part of networking involves getting to know things about the people that you're meeting and trying to find common ground. In the mainstream world, it's a little bit more challenging, especially if you're a believer, because the things that you're most passionate about are typically not shared by the majority of people that you're meeting. So you have to work a lot harder to find things. You have to do more research, essentially, to find things that you can find common ground with. When you're networking with other believers or at a Christian event or whatever, there's a shorthand. You have that foundation that's already there. You know how to, you don't need to take a whole lot of time to figure out if you share the same values. You know you already do. You're working from that foundation. Now you can get to the business part a little quicker without having to worry about whether that person shares your values or not.
The strong similarities. You're trying to figure out when you get a business card, okay, what bucket can I put them in? Should I need them? Are they a producer, writer? And in the business world, that's basically where it stands. I go on LinkedIn, I friend them, I find out exactly, okay, if I need them, in a good way, it's thinking niche. I know who to call when I need to find production insurance, it's this person. In the faith community, it's very similar, but there is a secondary layering that people generally have in that, and that is, what can I do for you? How can I serve you? So it's not just what's in it for me. And in the regular market, you find that too, but it's very, very pervasive in the faith-based community. People really genuinely listen, hear, and they're not shy about connecting dots for you. Where in the secular world, there is a suspicion of competition. And in the faith-based world, it's, you know what, I might not get anything out of this, but this is the right thing to do, and you two people need to meet. And I know I've done that, and I've had it done for me. So that is one of the big differentiating factors.
Trust more, believe more, be in tune with who you are, and know who God has made you to be. Then there's a peace that really surpasses all understanding. You're going through life, whether it looks good or bad in the natural eye, you understand it's well, it's good. Do not stop going after what your passion and purpose are. It's so essential. Once you get to that place in your life, there's a peace that just fills the atmosphere. When you walk in, it attracts people to you.
Well, I think networking in Hollywood versus Christian entertainment networking is two completely different worlds. I've made secular movies in the past. My first 3 movies were secular films. I did a film called Con Games with Eric Roberts, Julia Roberts' older brother. I would say that it's a very dark world, Hollywood. So not the people so much, but it's just a secular industry. Christian networking, there tends to be a lot more support, a lot more praying. Let's stay connected through prayer. And if it's the right people, then there's this underlying sort of, we're doing it for God, we're not doing it for ourselves. That's the real purpose. And so through networking, if you're really networking with true industry Christians, the motive is to serve God, not your own flesh. And that to me is the higher purpose. And that's why I don't even want to do secular projects anymore. I do commercials on occasion, but for the most part, all I want to do is Christian movies, because I realize that to me, it's very unfulfilling serving yourself. And we did a movie with Kevin Sorbo, T.C. Stallings, who was in War Room, as you probably know, and they were both in One More Round. That movie is now on Amazon Prime right now. It's also on PureFlix. They're one of our distribution partners. So those are 2 pretty good distribution companies.
So the project that I'm working on now is the biggest project and most important project in my life. And I'm partnered with people that I didn't even know a year ago. It came because I was open-handed to God, saying, I'm willing to never make another movie again as long as it means that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I concentrated on a project that I was working on in that moment. And that project led to things and led to relationships that I never would have found on my own. And so it was coming off of a professional disappointment, which got my attention and made me say, I'm not going to try so hard on it's got to be this way and it's got to be with these people. I'm going to try hard on it's got to be for this guy, this God, this Jesus. And if it's for him, then the rest ends up taking care of itself. And that sounds like a cliche, and I can't say that you're supposed to just totally rely on that, because you still have to do your part in working hard. But I was working hard and listening to God and not trying to force feed relationships. And that's when the best relationships in my career took place.
Everybody wants to get on set. Everybody wants an opportunity in film. And you have to have a little bit of a differentiating factor. And again, having that uniqueness helps the producer remember you. I always tell people, never be just anything in the indie world. Never be just an actor or I'm just a writer. Have a creative portfolio so that you can not only come in and say, hey, yes, I'm an actor, but I also do makeup. The reason is because you're thinking through the eyes of a producer. If it's between two really good people and you also do makeup, but I can hire you and get 2 for 1, that's thinking like a producer. And so you have to differentiate yourself by diversifying your experience and do the things that you hear about and you know you should.
Started working with a publishing company, funny enough, Gospel Today magazine. And I always tell the founder of that publication, because of her trust and ability to see in me what I didn't see in myself, she pushed me in front of the faith world before I was even ready to be in front of the faith world. That confidence in me that she pushed behind me are still some of the relationships that I have today. She stressed follow up and follow through and make it more than just a business relationship.
In terms of a relationship that I feel like is like a God sighting, I would say I go back to Bob Higley, who we met back in 2009. We were living in Dallas at the time, and we just had our daughter. She was about 1.5 years. And I really feel like that was sort of a God sighting or a God relationship, because we're still friends with him now. We don't get to talk as much as we used to, but he was just very, very encouraging to me, especially because this was before I'd done a Christian film. I'd done secular films in the past. And he had started this deal called the Christian Media Association, an event, and he had me attend, and he believed in me, even when I didn't have any faith in myself that I could do anything else. And so he's like, oh no, God's got a plan, don't give up. You know, he really took us in as a family in terms of spending time with us and nurtured us. And my daughter still calls him Uncle Bob. He helped get us on TBN, Praise the Lord show, which was, a top show.
Staying connected through relationship with God, relationship to your family, and then relationship with others. And I think keeping priorities straight, especially out here in Hollywood. We've been on the front lines for about 2 decades, and there is a lot that we've gone through. We're a miracle couple still standing. We just believe that that's because we don't know the future yet.
It's not just about making a friend, making a contact. It's about nurturing that relationship and being faithful to that relationship. If you say you're going to do something, you need to do it. That type of thing.
The mission statement of our company, BIC Alliance, is connecting people in business and industry with one another for the betterment of all, which is kind of a play on the definition of networking, getting together, get ahead. We're all about connecting people to help them. And we now, in today's day and age, of course, have to use digital and social media as a means of connecting people with one another. We're very active on LinkedIn and Twitter. I personally have, I think, over 20,000 followers. Most of the executives at my company have 15 to 25,000 followers. And so we have a staff that's dedicated to providing great information and great content on social media and the internet. Our website, maybe about 4 years ago, we transformed it from being more of a brochure type website to being an RRS feed where we're updating the website twice a day with relevant information for our readers in our industry. So we're really feeling good about the way we're connecting people using the internet and social media.
Bring business cards, have a website up, have a reel, have projects going on, and talk about them. Don't be shy to talk about them.
The nuggets that I can share, definitely. Be present, be presentable, and follow through.
I was researching scriptures about the power of God, because we can know a form of godliness and deny the power thereof. And I just believe that living elevated above the circumstances is what Hollywood is really craving and searching for. And I just believe, like what you said, when we come into it, we have found the answer, and we're no longer searching.
Film world is a small world, but then the Christian film world is even smaller. And a producer's generally willing to pick up the phone and say, yeah, you need to contact this person, this is who you need. And it's awesome like that. You can move quickly.
Narrowing your focus of networking to the people above you can be as effective or more than widening the scope of how many people you know.
My words of wisdom to somebody that wants to start out: find a mentor or protege, learn from those people, and if you join professional organizations and get involved, and your network is going to grow. I hope you've enjoyed listening to these champions share their pearls of wisdom. And thanks to all of our champions for being a part of this meaningful program. Remember, networking is getting together to put God first and to spread peace, love, and happiness here on earth.
Tune in to learn more about how this important tool can change your life.